For this week's Smith Business Close-Up, we are on location at the University of Maryland, where we are joined by Brent Goldfarb, who is an associate professor of management and entrepreneurship. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Your research is a really interesting topic because your research indicates that there is some questionable research out there.
So we've found that in the top 5 leading journals in strategic management, that about 25 to 40% of the results would not be replicated on repeat findings.
That's a big number. How do those journals feel about this?
Well, I don't think they're very happy about it. What we're finding is very common across the scientific field. It's not just strategic management. You see this in psychology, you see this in the sciences, and what happens, it's basically a false positives problem. So what happens is researchers come out and they find a result that looks very, very interesting, and then they try to explain it post hoc, ignoring the fact that they had run many different similar types of experiments or looked for many different types of correlations and found nothing. And when you look at one in isolation and ignore everything else, the chance of the 1 in 20 chance of finding that gets exaggerated.
What got you interested in this?
I was frustrated by some of the results that I saw in the literature. I decided, well, I noticed that this was a phenomenon in other fields, and I looked for some evidence in our own field to see it, and it looked like, and then I compared that with the methods that I know that researchers use. And when I put all those things together, I thought it was very likely that we have this problem in our field as well.
So to play devil's advocate here, how do we know that we should trust your research?
That is a really good question. My research isn't statistical in this sense. It's just revealing the basic statistical properties of what's in there.
So what then should researchers and the journals that publish their work be doing differently?
Well, the journals need to focus more on replication. And the problem with replication is it's a little bit boring because you're not discovering anything new, and new things are always much more interesting than seeing the same old thing again and again. But this is science, and in order to really understand and know what a fact is, you don't have to see it just once. You want to be able to see it many times and show that it's a repeated phenomenon.
So you say this isn't just a problem with business school, business research, other fields potentially, other fields like medicine, where big decisions and a lot of money and life and death decisions can ride on the research outcomes.
Well, I would say so yes, the short answer to that is absolutely yes. But I wouldn't say that not a lot of money is not a lot of money is spent in business.
Oh, sure.
Based on false premises or ideas that aren't sufficiently validated by research.
Is there a particular study that you'd like to debunk, or are there any studies that in particular might be examples of this?
Well, I think that the solutions and the explanations behind, say, Clay Christensen's theories of innovator's dilemma are not based on strong evidence. Let's just leave it at that.
Maybe explain that a little bit and what the implication would be.
Well, in Clay's theory, the idea is that managers mathematically ignore disruptive technologies by serving their own customers, and thereby make a mistake by not shifting to the new markets. Well, the evidence that this is managerial error is really small, and large firms are constrained by their past and their organizations, so it's actually quite difficult to shift into something else. That hasn't prevented a lot of consulting dollars going to promoting that theory, even if it's a false positive.
Interesting stuff. Brent Goldfarb is with the University of Maryland's Robert H. Smith School of Business. Dr. Goldfarb, thank you for being with us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.